Audi owners assume their car is configured correctly from the factory. And why wouldn't they? Audi has spent decades building a reputation for engineering precision. But here is the uncomfortable truth. Several factory systems and settings in modern Audis are quietly accelerating engine wear. Not because Audi built a bad engine, but because these systems were designed for emissions compliance, fuel economy, and warranty timelines. Not for the 200,000-mile lifespan most owners expect. And the reason most owners never catch it is simple. The damage does not happen overnight. It stacks slowly, silently, across tens of thousands of miles, until one day a repair bill shows up that feels sudden. But the damage started years earlier. Today we are breaking down 5 factory systems and settings you need to address immediately if you want your Audi engine to last. Some of these are inside your MMI. Some are default behaviors your car performs every single drive. All 5 are working against your engine right now. Let's get into it. Setting 1. The oil change interval programmed into your car's computer. Audi's onboard service interval system is designed to push oil change intervals as long as 10,000 miles on many models. On some turbocharged TFSI engines, it will comfortably recommend stretching past that if your driving profile appears light. The problem is not the technology, it is the assumption behind it. That interval calculation was designed to meet manufacturer warranty obligations and reduce service visits, not to protect your specific engine at high mileage. Turbocharged engines run hotter, put more stress on oil, and are far more sensitive to oil degradation than naturally aspirated motors. When oil degrades inside a turbocharger bearing housing, it does not just lose lubrication efficiency, it cooks into carbon deposits, a process called oil coking, that coats the turbo's internals and restricts oil flow. Over time, this causes accelerated bearing wear and eventually turbo failure. Replacement turbos on Audi's TFSI and TDI platforms typically run $2,000 to $4,500 installed. On S and RS models, that number climbs significantly higher. The fix: override the computer. On any turbocharged Audi, change your oil at 5,000 miles maximum. Many performance Audi owners go to 4,000 miles. One extra oil change per year costs roughly $100 to $200. A turbo replacement costs $4,000. The math is not complicated. Setting 2. Start-stop system. Auto engine off at traffic lights. Audi's start-stop system is enabled by default on virtually every modern model. The system shuts your engine off completely at red lights and in stop-and-go traffic, then restarts it the moment you lift off the brake. The stated purpose is to reduce fuel consumption and emissions. The reality for long-term engine health is more complicated. Repeated start cycles increase mechanical wear on the starter motor, the battery system, and critical engine components every time the system activates. Your starter is engaging and disengaging dozens of times per commute instead of once. Your battery is working significantly harder than it was designed to across a standard driving cycle. And each restart event puts demand on engine components before oil has fully redistributed from its resting state. On turbocharged engines, this matters even more. The turbocharger relies on continuous oil circulation while running. Each restart reduces the residual oil film available to the turbo's bearing housing at the moment of reignition. A small but cumulative source of wear that compounds over years of daily driving. The fix: turn it off every time you drive. The button is on your center console. Press it once before you leave. On supported models, you can also disable it permanently through MMI coding. This single habit costs nothing and eliminates a daily source of unnecessary mechanical stress. And if you think start-stop is the worst offender, the next setting is something thousands of Audi owners leave on every single day without realizing what it is doing to their engine from the very first cold start. Setting 3. Dynamic drive mode left in Sport or Sports Plus. Audi's Drive Select system adjusts throttle response, transmission shift points, suspension behavior, and engine mapping based on your selected mode. Dynamic and sport modes push your engine harder on every input. Throttle response is sharper. The transmission holds gears longer into higher RPM ranges. The engine runs closer to its performance limits from the moment you touch the accelerator. The problem is not using sport mode. The problem is owners who set it and forget it, leaving the car in dynamic for every commute, every cold start, every short trip. When you start a cold engine in dynamic mode, it responds to throttle inputs aggressively before oil is fully up to temperature, before internal clearances have normalized, and before the turbocharger has reached its optimal operating conditions. This is mechanical stress that the engine was not designed to handle at startup, and it compounds over tens of thousands of miles of daily driving. The wear is invisible until it is not. The fix: start every cold engine in comfort or auto. Let the car fully warm up before switching into dynamic if you want sharper response. Reserve Sport Plus for the moments you genuinely need it. This is especially critical on the TFSI 4-cylinder and the S and RS models, where the performance calibration is significantly more aggressive than standard. Setting 4. The carbon buildup default that Audi's service system never reminds you about. This one operates differently because it is not a toggle. It is a factory design behavior that Audi's service interval system quietly trains you to ignore. Here is the engineering background. Audi's direct injection TFSI engines, which cover almost the entire modern lineup, inject fuel directly into the combustion chamber, rather than through the intake port. The efficiency advantage is real. The consequence is that fuel never washes the back of the intake valves. Oil vapor from the PCV system continuously coats the valve surfaces with carbon deposits that have no clearing mechanism built into the engine's operation. By 60,000 to 80,000 miles on many TFSI engines, these deposits become significant enough to restrict airflow, disrupt combustion, cause rough idle, and reduce power noticeably. By 100,000 miles on neglected examples, they are severe enough to cause misfires and throttle hesitation that owners frequently mistake for a sensor failure or fuel system problem, leading to misdiagnosis and repair bills that solve nothing. A walnut blast service, where ground walnut shells are blasted through the intake to remove deposits, typically costs $600 to $1,200 depending on the shop and model. Ignoring it until symptoms appear can lead to misfire diagnostics, injector replacements, and additional repairs that run several $1,000s. Audi's CBS system has no reminder for this service because it does not involve a consumable the system tracks. The fix: schedule a walnut blast every 50,000 to 60,000 miles on any direct injection TFSI Audi. Do not wait for symptoms. This is the single most overlooked scheduled service in the modern Audi lineup. 4 down. The last one is the simplest habit on this entire list, and it cost you nothing but 2 minutes. But most Audi owners who drive their car hard are skipping it every single day. Setting 5. Shutting the engine off immediately after hard driving. Every turbocharged Audi has this vulnerability, and almost nobody addresses it. When you drive hard, highway merging, spirited driving, sustained motorway speeds, your turbocharger is spinning at up to 200,000 RPM and generating significant heat. While the engine is running, oil circulates continuously through the turbo's bearing housing, cooling and lubricating the components under load. The moment you shut the engine off, that oil circulation stops completely. If the turbocharger is still extremely hot, the residual oil inside the bearing housing begins to cook, turning from lubricant into carbon deposits that coat the turbo's internals. This is oil coking. Over time, it restricts oil flow to the bearing, accelerates wear, and leads to turbo failure. Again, $2,000 to $4,500 installed minimum. More on performance models. Modern Audis do have water-cooled turbochargers that continue dissipating heat after shutdown. But water cooling reduces the risk. It does not eliminate it. particularly after aggressive driving where heat levels are significantly higher than normal operation. The fix. After any hard driving, let the engine idle for 2 to 3 minutes before shutting off. Do not sit and rev it, just let it idle. This allows oil to continue circulating and carry heat away from the bearing housing before the system goes cold. 2 minutes of idle time after a spirited drive can add years to a component that costs thousands to replace. If you regularly drive your Audi hard and immediately shut it off in the driveway, you are shortening your turbo's life on every single drive. None of these factory systems destroy an Audi engine overnight. That is exactly what makes them dangerous. They work slowly, quietly, and consistently, stacking miles of wear until one day the repair bill shows up, and it feels sudden. But the damage started years earlier on ordinary drives, in settings you never thought to question. Shorten your oil change intervals on any turbocharged TFSI engine. Disable start-stop every time you drive. Warm the engine in comfort mode before you demand performance from it. Schedule your walnut blast before 60,000 miles. And give the turbo 2 minutes to cool down after any hard driving. 5 factory systems, 5 habits. 0 additional cost beyond 1 extra oil change per year. And the difference between an Audi that reaches 200,000 miles and one that starts costing you serious money long before it gets there. If this helps you, hit subscribe. This channel exists so Audi owners never get blindsided by a repair bill they could have prevented. Drop your model and mileage in the comments right now. We want to know what you are driving and how it is holding up. We read every single one.